Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We are live, home from work. We just picked the kids up from school, came over, picked up, did a little bit of notes right here to keep us on track. 100% truth. I'm a little bit cranky today. I'm a little bit of a bad mood. I don't think that's going to kill the stream. I don't think that's going to make for a bad video, but I am going to go off on a little bit of a rant today. We are hours out from WWE Monday Night Raw. It basically started at 4 o'clock. That was 24 hours ago. It ran until about 6:30 here on the West Coast. And I had a very bad viewing experience. I still don't know what I did wrong. I don't know how to fix it in the upcoming future. I don't know if I just had a bad night and something is wrong with Netflix and Apple or Netflix in my area. But still to now, once the show was over, I tried to restart the show. Once I woke up in the morning, I tried to restart the show. When I got home from work, I tried to restart the show. And on Netflix, I can watch anything and it plays fine. I can play an old Monday Night Raw and it plays fine. But when I pull up the September 15th edition of Monday Night Raw, even from the very beginning, I mean, the words are outlaid on the front of the screen. It says Monday Night Raw, it says the date, it puts the advisory in the corner. So it has that. But as far as like video, there's nothing. I get audio, I can hear it. I basically had to sit down and listen to Monday Night Raw. Raw would not play on my Apple TV. I restarted the Apple TV. I closed the app. I looked for an update to Netflix's app on Apple TV. I did everything other than reset the whole box back to scratch and start over fresh. But I went to Netflix on my MacBook. Same deal. I went on my iPhone. Same deal. I went on my iPad. Same deal. Was not able to get picture. I pay for picture. I think I have ads free as many streams as I can get. I think I have the highest tier of Netflix accounts because we have so many kids and everybody wants to go to their room. Everybody wants to watch something different, that we don't need to be like, going room to room saying like, hey, we need to borrow the Netflix. I need you to close out your account. But WWE has not tweeted about it. I've asked wrestling writers. Nobody, picked up the story. I don't know if it affected like 1% of people out there in the world. I was going to Twitter and I was searching WWE Raw and the word black for black screen. And basically, I saw other people having the same problems. I don't know what the root of the problem is. I don't know why they're not putting out an answer to what we could do different. Do I need to buy a new TV? Do I not have the right? I don't even know. Like, do I not have like the ability to do stream? Because maybe they upped, the something or something like that. Is it like when you needed a certain kind of graphics card for like when you were building your computer back in the day or something like that? But I was really excited for Wrestlepalooza. You can go back to like a month before this show was even announced, and it was like an underground rumor. And just like I kept billing this as like this is going to be one of the biggest wrestling pay-per-views of all time. WWE is going to merge with ESPN and they are going to put their backing behind it. I saw Seth Rollins, I saw Paul Heyman on ESPN today. They were talking it up. They were trying to build this as a big show. But here, honestly, with a week left, I don't know if this is going to be the biggest show of all time. I don't think it's going to be the biggest show of all time for a few reasons. I think my fandom got really bumped down because of the fact I wasn't able to actually watch Monday Night Raw. I used to listen to a lot of football. I used to listen to a lot of basketball on the radio while I was at work. You have to kind of like use your imagination, but I was working. I was home. I was sitting on my couch. I had a whole night planned of trying to, watch Monday Night Raw while I was, watching Monday Night Football. And I spent the whole night trying to kind of like find a way to watch Raw and wasn't able to do it. And honestly, we've talked a lot about, VPNs and, illegal wrestling streams that are out there on the internet. I wish I would have known of one because I would have gone and checked it out because it would have been one of the only ways that I could have watched Raw last night. But I was listening to review a Raw from Post Wrestling with John Pollock and Wei Ting today. And John Pollock is honestly somebody that I really like. I kind of find that like the way he watches wrestling and the way he reviews it is a lot like the way that I, kind of like watch wrestling and pick up on the things that they say. So, they hit everybody just a little bit different. But I heard Joe Tessitore on Monday Night Raw, and he was talking about Wrestlepalooza coming to ESPN, and it was going to be on the new, updated, beefed up ESPN app. And Joe Tessitore laid out the instructions of basically, go to the ESPN app, download it. If you have it, make sure it has been updated, and you will be able to watch Wrestlepalooza on Saturday. Nothing about the fact that you need to purchase a tier. You need to make sure that your cable company offers the ESPN app, how to, go into the app and verify that you are a cable subscriber with a certain amount of company. Basically, if you have Comcast, if you have YouTube TV, you're hosed. You need to, go to the ESPN app and you need to sign up and you need to pay them $30 a month in order to watch this show. If there was no go around and there was no way to get this for free, I honestly think that my fandom in WWE, I would pay the $30 a month. I think that I care enough about WWE and I make sure that I watch it, regularly to the point where I'm not missing, shows like I was in 2020 or 2021. I think it's worth it. I honestly do think it'd be worth it. I came from a time when it was the 90s and you were begging your dad for $30 in order to watch the Royal Rumble or SummerSlam. And every once in a while it worked. There were shows that came along that I think were like $24 for the In Your Houses. They might have even have been 20. The In Your Houses, they weren't great. They were basically editions of Raw with like a big main event of like Diesel versus Sid for the WWF Championship. And as time moved on and WCW got better, and there was more competition, the In Your Houses got better to the point where they phased out In Your House and just made them normal pay-per-views. But I don't know, $30 a month for WWE, one night. You don't get to watch Raw. You don't get to watch SmackDown. Heck, you can't even watch WrestleMania 4, SummerSlam 1991, Breaking Point, what was that, 2009? You can't watch the old stuff. You sign up for this app, you're basically just going to be able to watch these WWE PLE super shows. And, when it's, SummerSlam season or WrestleMania season, Royal Rumble, there's no doubt in my mind it's going to be worth $30 a month. there are pay-per-views like in between big shows that they have to leave you on a cliffhanger. They have to leave you on a point of like you want to watch Raw next week. That's how they keep us, going. We've been watching wrestling for a long time. We know what it's going to have to be. But I really think from Joe Tessitore talking about the WWE app on Raw, there's going to be people who at least aren't just going to the ESPN channel, thinking that WWE is going to be on. At least now they're going to the app, but they're going to make ESPN sell themselves to that customer. But I think that those customers are going there thinking that they're going to watch WWE for free. And if they don't have one of the 4 companies like Hulu Live TV or I think one of the actual the sports anchored ones, Fubo, something like that. They have it, but the where the bulk of America is with YouTube TV or Comcast, we don't have deals. YouTube TV's ESPN deal isn't up until December, and if you follow sports enough, like we just went through it with the beginning of college football. And YouTube TV was going to lose Fox. They were going to lose Fox Sports 1. They were going to lose all Fox programming. They had to come to a deal at the very last minute. It's going to be the same thing with ESPN. ESPN wants to anchor into the deal that this ESPN app is going to be included. I think one of the big things that they want is everybody that is a subscriber to be paying for this in a way that they don't realize that they're paying for it. In the short term, I think we're going to have to do what we have to do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unsubscribe from YouTube TV. I'm going to go over to Hulu Live TV. I'm going to set up an account and be off to the races. I want to be able to make sure I know it works before Saturday. I don't want to be this like a game time decision. I was trying to get that day off to make it a big day. But almost everybody that works for me needs the day off as well. So I'm going to be going in, getting off and coming home. But I just want to know that I can just push the button, ESPN app, pull it up, and let's roll. But we got 5 matches on this card. And I'll say honestly, this show did not put up what I thought it was going to do. I think that honestly 2 weeks ago, I picked the card. Cena Brock, AJ Punk versus Becky and Seth, EO versus Stephanie Vicaire, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed versus the Usos, and Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes. But I thought that I was going to care a little bit more about these matches. Second pay-per-view in a row. This is very Monday Night Raw heavy. I believe on the last show, Clash in Paris, SmackDown only had 1 match on that show as well. But, they were, doing the SmackDown overseas basically with the same theme of Clash in Paris that made SmackDown be like a really big show. Of course, Sami Zayn won the United States Championship. So I think they try to tie in SmackDown as being like a special part of that pay-per-view experience. But these 5 matches, I don't care about as much as I really thought that they were building them up. I think that I can get excited for these matches when they start, but I don't think I'm really like throwing streamers at my TV when these guys come out to the ring. You really look at John Cena's retirement, we're getting really close to the end here. As of right now, the only bookings that are public for us to know about is Wrestlepalooza is going to be on Saturday. No guarantee of him showing up on SmackDown Friday night, but Brock Lesnar is going to be there. Did we get some sort of surprise there? No knowing if he's going to be on Raw on Monday. You got to think that he's going through a war before this with the Brock Lesnar match. But we're not going to see him again until probably October 11th, which is the Crown Jewel show in Australia. He's booked for November 10th in Boston for Monday Night Raw, November 17th the following week in Madison Square Garden for Monday Night Raw. November 29th is the Survivor Series, where they're going to be doing War Games in San Diego. I don't want to pat myself on the back, but me and my buddy Freaking Yaya 88, Miguel, are going to be going to that show. And then the last go round, December 13th, Saturday night's main event, Washington, D.C. I don't want to say that I'm going to have a tear in my eye that night, but it is sad, and it's really hard to believe that we're only guaranteed 6 more times with John Cena along the way. I saw some pretty cool future bookings. Most people have the Brock match just being a one-match thing. It's not going to be like a long-standing storyline for the rest of his time. Some people think that, it's going to be like him versus Dom for the IC title, and then he kind of gets roped into the whole Judgment Day storyline that they end up using Finn Balor and Dom to break up Judgment Day. Maybe Dom goes on his own with all of the El Grande Americanos or something like that. And then Survivor Series, does he join like Team Roman or something like that to fight against the Vision? And then Saturday night's main event is up in the air, but probably the best match that most people are throwing around is him, versus Gunther. Gunther hasn't had a match since he dropped the World Heavyweight Championship. But he's got to be coming back sooner than later, and that's kind of like a dream match that a lot of people put down that they wanted to see. There's a lot going on in WWE as of right now. I mean, LA Knight has really been like a main event guy on Monday Night Raw. Where does he fit into this whole deal? Do we see him, or basically does he like take the night off in order to keep his storyline going on Monday? But he's really into a lot of stuff right now. Yeah, and I'm really not quite sure what's going to be going down, but we'll just go through the show match by match. Not a lot to really talk about here. We've been doing a lot of talking to get here. Almost now, we just got to get through it. And I hope everybody out there is able to actually see this show that hopes to it. We were really spoiled by the WWE Network back in the day. I hope everybody knows what we had, when we had it. And, Peacock, they did really well keeping it at a normal, affordable price for almost any wrestling fan out there in the world. I'm hoping that, kids out there, probably grew up, from WrestleMania 30 to now. And, they were just paying $10 to $15 a month in order to watch the PLEs with WWE Network and Peacock. Of course, WWE Network never went up in price the whole time that it was rolling until it rolled over into Peacock. Peacock, I hope they got the people out of it that they wanted to sign up. I don't know if they had like a first refusal to ESPN, when they got the offer to try and match, but I don't know. We don't even know where the classic stuff's going to go, or the NXT stuff is going to go. So there's a lot of stuff, up in the air about what's going to be going on. How about this? NXT is going to have one hell of a show tonight. NXT Homecoming. It's been a long time since NXT put a show on that was kind of like on my radar. Not the fact that they were just having a show that was going up against like a AEW PLE or something like that. This is just a normal show. And they've, packed it with like William Regal, Finn Balor, basically, Rhea Ripley. We've got Stephanie Bakir. Tyler Breeze is coming back. Anybody who's anybody is going to be there. And when I was looking through all the names that was going to be there, there's always surprises. There's always somebody that's going to come out that isn't advertised. I wish, honestly, that Kevin Owens found a place to be there. I would love if Charlotte, Bailey, and Becky Lynch found a way to be there. That was kind of like my golden era of NXT, where I felt like I was coming home from work and I was watching NXT each and every week. I was following along with the takeovers, and I really knew what was going on. For a long time, I would watch a takeover when it came out because it was like a pay-per-view event, and I wanted to get my money's worth for the streaming thing. But it's honestly it's been a while since they've done anything that was on my radar, and that was kind of like when I cared about it. So I would hope that like they have those special things in the tank. I know that Sami Zayn's going to be there, so maybe if we had a Sami versus Kevin Owens confrontation, I would think that was really, really cool. And even though like Bailey's basically starting a new gimmick on Monday Night Raw where she's going batshit crazy, and then Becky Lynch is in the middle of this whole deal with Seth, and Charlotte is teaming with Alexa Bliss. If they just came together for one night to just realize what it was when Sasha Banks was there, and how special the women's division were, and how cool it was that all three of the four got brought up to Monday Night Raw all at the same time, and then you pat Bailey on the back basically by saying like she had to stay behind, but it wasn't like the women's division just completely flopped and everybody was like, well, what happened to the women's division? Because they're all sitting over on Monday Night Raw. And then the fact right after they get called up, they're basically all in a main event spot, you can say, at WrestleMania 32 in a match that everybody was caring about for the new women's championship. But it's been a while. Thank you, NXT. Tonight should be a really good night. I'll blaze through this so we can all get ready to sit down and watch. But